Now, just to my right here, I have my 2020 Audi RS7 that hasn't moved for over 6 months. Yes, 6 months ago, I bought this Audi RS7 from BCA Trade Auction as a non-runner, and it was non-runner overheating engine issue, so I assumed the engine wouldn't run, so I got it fairly cheap. Now, when we got it back, we could see there was no coolant in the header tank, but to my surprise, the car did start. Oh, it runs. It runs. Very smoky. Very let's turn it off. Very smoky. So it does seem to run alright apart from the massive cloud of smoke coming out the exhaust, but I did a compression test anyway and I found cylinder 7 to be the one that was on the low side compared to the others, and after getting a boroscope down there we can see a puddle of water, which isn't a very good sign. It means the engine's got to come out. So spent a couple of days getting the engine out and started stripping the right hand side of the engine down where cylinder 7 is. And once we removed all the ancillaries and the head itself, we could see the head gasket. And that head gasket shows that there's been water leaking past and into the cylinders, and that is why there was no coolant in the header tank, and that is why the car was burning coolant, because it was leaking in. So with the engine out, I sent it down to Ricky at RE Performance and he fully assessed it, and luckily it was just a lifted head. The engine is now back with us, which is why I'm filming this video, and it is time to get it back in the car, get the front end back on, and also we've got some lovely Vossen wheels to fit as well, and a full carbon Eventuri intake. We've got some upgraded sports cats, and probably not in this video, but we will be remapping the car to circa 800 horsepower too. So, without further ado, let's get into the workshop because I've got to build the engine back up because all the ancillaries are in boxes. And here we have it, our rebuilt engine back from RE Performance, all tickety-boo, been completely rebuilt, completely stripped down, cleaned, and put back together with new parts, new head gaskets, all OEM parts, and yeah, completely rebuilt by Ricky at RE Performance. So a massive, massive thank you to Ricky. I'm actually going to put a link in the description because he did a video on his own YouTube channel about the strip down. So I'm going to stick a link in the description. Go drop him a follow on his YouTube channel as well. So freshly back from Ricky's, all built up, ready for me to put together. But you will be noticing it's missing all of its ancillaries and wiring. So job numero uno is try and work out where all this stuff goes. Because obviously I didn't strip it, I gave it to Ricky complete. But he did warn me it was going to come back in boxes like this. So the only downside is, because I didn't take it off, it's going to be hard for me to remember, well, I won't be able to remember, how it goes back on. So I may need 5 working weeks to work out where everything goes. But that is job number 1 before we try and get the car in. Also, I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but try not to get carried away, because if you can read that, Eventuri, we have a full carbon intake system going on the RS7 as well as my upgraded custom downpipes. And in these 4 boxes here are 4 custom forged Vossen alloys. So you can see I've gone to town on the RS7, and it's going to be epic when it's done. I genuinely don't know how long this is going to take, because I just don't have a clue where. It's not where everything goes, it's the orientation in which it goes, because in my head now I can just see myself putting 10 things on, realising one thing has to go under all those 10 things, and then having to take those 10 things back off to fit the one thing. And that is what I'm most concerned about, if I'm honest. So I'm going to try and just be, I've just watched the video back from when I took the engine out, and I've taken loads of screenshots of that video, so I can try and see the orientation. I'll try and be strategic. Obviously engine mounts, the big things, alternator, AC compressor, I'll try and bolt those on and hope it gives me a better idea, but wish me luck. So after spending hours trying to find some sort of guide anywhere, I couldn't find much online, if I'm honest. So I just had to do it the old-fashioned way and try and work it out. And I started with the wiring loom. I thought that was the best place to start. And just started feeding it around the engine, looking for clips, looking for places where stuff goes. And that kind of worked, to be honest. And once I got a good base with the wiring loom, I could start adding bigger bits to the engine, starting to get bits in the right position, get the turbos in, and it was starting to look like an engine again. Right, so after 3 days, yes, days, I think I'm pretty much there with getting this engine back together. And I'm sure I've just mentioned on the time lapse, when you haven't stripped it, it is an absolute nightmare because it's the orientation of things, it's getting things in the right position, in the right order as well. And yeah, it's been really, really hard. I've been searching Google images. I tried to watch Ricky's video back as best I can, but there's just only so much you can really see. And I say it's been 3 days. It's not been 3 full days. It's been like three-quarter days. But I am pretty much there. The only thing I've had to Google apart is this additional coolant pump here, because I was like, oh, it's got like, looks like a block fitting or a head fitting, but I just could not find where it went. And after looking at a parts diagram, it actually bolts to the alternator at the bottom here. So that's why I couldn't see it, because it's right at the bottom. So hopefully that isn't a too bad a position and it's not going to be a pain. Now, another reason why it's taken so long is because I have spent extra time making sure every single wire, every single bolt, every single clip is in the right position, down to like stuff like this clip, make sure that clip's in the right position, that clip's in the right position, that clip's in the right position. I'm just giving you examples here, and just literally going over everything. And a few more examples, just like clips in here, clips in there, that I haven't found yet. There's still a pipe that I need to fit. And all across here, look, I'm sure you can imagine just by looking at it how difficult it was to get the orientation and get everything clipped in properly. So you can see, yeah, where I've been spending all of my hours. But yeah, as I said, I'm pretty much there. And I've just got, the reason I've started this video is A, to tell you about that coolant hose, and B, to tell you intake, these things, intake elbows, whatever you want to call them. I need to fit the Eventuri one. So the Eventuri one is going to go here, and you can see how much bigger it is than the standard one that side. So I've got one each side, and they need to be plumbed in there. So that's as far as I've got. And then obviously I've got to connect these bolts up to the other side of that hose there. Turbo's all plumbed in. All hoses are done up, so happy with that. And yeah, I've left these loose purely because I had to I did them all up and had to undo all the connections, because I realized that this top foam bit here had to be squeezed under the coil packs. So the coil packs had to go on afterwards. So I had to remove all the wiring, pull all the coil packs back out to get this cover in. Yeah, that really annoyed me. So I haven't plugged them back in just in case, but I think I'm okay. And then the other thing, I've got this fuel line here, which has to go to the pump here and the other pump, but I haven't actually found out the correct correlation yet, probably because there's parts missing here. And that's obviously been changed for an Eventuri one. And then we just got a massive breather hose there, which I'm pretty sure connects here and goes over the top. But again, that'll be the last thing I do. So yeah, that was certainly very interesting and very time consuming, but we're now positioned. I'm going to finish a couple of little bits off, get the breather hoses on, and then we can finally get the RS7 back into the workshop. So fitting these little elbows was actually quite easy, probably because the engine's out, but it's only 3 bolts on each one. We can see there's not really much difference between the two. A little bit bigger bore and none of them weird turbine things. But once that's in, we can get the engine out of the way and then get the car into the workshop. Surprising, it hasn't moved for 6 months, but it rolled quite freely. But to pull it up the hill, we needed the Audi Q8. And that Audi Q8, guys, is live on Compete for Cars. You can win that for just £2.99. I'm going to leave the link in the description. It's a 2023 50 TDI Black Edition with only 7,000 miles, HPI clear, 2 keys, comfort and sound pack. Really, really nice car. So go grab your tickets. Live draw is in a couple of weeks. And also, if you fancy your chances, we have Chris Slick's X3M with 800 brake horsepower on there too. Right, I've just double checked. Everything in the engine is plugged, or on the engine is plugged in. Can't find any reason not to now put the engine back in the car. So, let's do it. I'll tell you what, getting the engine in wasn't that bad, and it's probably because there was no gearbox, no subframe, anything with it. It was just purely the engine, so I could manipulate it a lot easier. And the gearbox was kind of in a fixed position as well, so I could just butt it up to it, slot the drive plate through to the gearbox. It did take a few wiggling, maybe 20 minutes of moving the gearbox a little bit just to suit the engine, but eventually I did get it in. Whew. Right. And with the engine in, I can now bolt the drive plate to the engine and then start working out where all the wires went that are on the car and then plug them into the engine so we can just go for a first start just to make sure everything works and there's no leaks. Right, so I've done all the gearbox bolts up, coolant pipes and brackets all attached at the back here. Another coolant pipe on here. Wiring for the downpipes I've just tucked out the way up here. Obviously everything in the V I've already double checked. So now it's time to get the downpipes in. Now, I've got some completely custom downpipes made for this car, which basically retain the GPF, and they've also got a sports cat in them as well. And these were made by Necroblium. Always struggle to say his name. I'm going to stick a link in the description. Big thanks to him for making these custom. So yeah, 200 cell sports cat with GPF. One each side, so each cat's got a 200 cell in it. And we've got all our sensors here for GPF, which we'll just plug in as normal. And I'll plumb all these in now. So, work out which one goes where. That one looks to be this side, I think. Oh god, can't get it in. Right, there we go. Yep, right, that's looking this side. I'm just going to go find my clamps because I don't actually know where they are. And once I found those clamps, I mounted the downpipes to the turbo, and then it was just about rotating it to get the rest of the exhaust system bolted to the downpipes. And also a big shout out to Imeco, who heat wrapped the downpipes as well, which is a necessity because it's in a hot V and we don't want to burn stuff. So big thanks to Imeco. If you want any exhaust heat wrapping, I'll put a link to them in my description too. So once I was happy the exhaust is in the right position, I could then bolt up the subframe, the steering rack and everything on the underside of the car. Right, so excuse the mess. I have been working away for probably about 6 hours in total. Obviously for you it's only been about 40 seconds, but yeah, it's just been so much fiddly stuff, and the trouble is it's been so long I couldn't remember anything, and I want to get everything in the exact right place. And I'm pretty much there now. ECU's all plugged in, all the wiring underneath is plugged in and located. Custom downpipes are all in position. Pretty much I'm at a position where I think I can now try and start the engine, or at least turn it over for the first time. I don't need any of the front end in the end. I did find the couple of connectors that went at the top, and I can't remember. I've connected my fuel lines up, but I cannot remember if I took a fuse out, because when I turned the ignition on before, no fuel came out. So I have a feeling I've taken a fuse out, but it won't be a bad thing if we turn it over for the first sort of 20 seconds with no fuel going in, because it won't start. That's fine. I've stuck 5 litres of oil in. That's nowhere near enough. I need 9.5, so I need to actually go buy some more because I don't have any more. But what I'm actually going to do before we try and start this is, if you remember from the first video, we suspected that the engine possibly had a stage 1 map on it, which is the reason why the head's lifted. Now I've got Otis, I've just started it up. We are going to actually be able to find out if it's got basically a TD1 flag, is what they call, where the software and the ECU's been altered. If it has, I can now do an SVM, which means I can put the standard map back on the car. So that should be quite interesting. So I've connected up everything here. I have only got 11.4 volts, but that's fine. Obviously, there's going to be loads of faults. But obviously, you know why there's going to be loads of faults. I don't actually know how to find out if it's got a remap on it. I'm going to try and work it out. Well, interestingly, I've just done an SVM and it said the configuration of the control module has been verified and is correct, which would indicate to me that it hasn't been remapped, and it's all up to date as well, apparently. Right, I just jumped in to turn the ignition on. I just out of habit, I put my foot on the brake and it turned over for like 5 seconds before I turned it off, which is good. Obviously, it means it turns over. Obviously, it didn't start, and that's because I unplugged a fuse for the fuel pump. I have just plugged that fuse back in. So now I'm going to go for a very quick start. I just want to make sure it does start up, run. I'm going to turn it straight off because, as I just said, I've only got 5 litres of engine oil in there, not the 9.5 that I need. So I don't want it to run really at all, but I'm going home now and I'm not going to come back in for 2 days. So I want to know before I go that it just starts. Battery, I'm going to leave on charge because it is not happy, as you can tell by this, having a hissy fit. I'm just going to press boost. All right. Let's just turn it off. Right, fingers crossed. Oh, that sounds sweet! And off. Oh, that sounded epic. Oh, at least it runs, as I said, 5 seconds. I don't want to jinx it. I'm now going to go home for the weekend and I'm going to come back in Monday with another 5 litres of oil. And yeah, I'm just happy it starts. That means everything's connected and obviously the engine runs. So I can now breathe over the weekend. I'll see you Monday. So here I'm just going to loosely fit the lock carrier just so I can bolt up the radiator and close off the coolant system so we can run the car. And also I've just gone and got some more engine oil. Annoyingly, they didn't have any 5W30, so I've got 0W30, which is pretty sure what goes in the car anyway. So by the time we mix it all in, I'm going to have 2.5W30, which is a nice little hybrid, best of both worlds. Right, so slam panel lock carrier is loosely mounted, but all connections are now done. So I've aircon pipes, all coolant pipes to the radiator, and coolant pipes down there, all connected up as well. Nothing else. I've just put in, basically we've got a closed coolant system, a closed oil system. I've just put another 3.5 litres of oil in. I've just stuck probably about 2.5, 3 litres of water in. So we are good to start it up. And leave it now running for a little bit. So, yeah, let's give it a go. Come on, right, let's give it a start. She's running. I don't know if it's going to cut out when that boost pack stops working. I don't know how good the alternator is going to be because that battery is knackered. Bit of water on the floor where I've spilt it and not got it in the coolant bottle, but I can't see anything on the floor yet, which is also a good sign. Engine sounds good. So it's sounding good so far. I'm now just going to leave it to idle for a little bit. I'm going to keep topping up the coolant level, making sure there's no leaks. Oil level I know is fine for the moment. It's only about 3/4 of a litre short of what it should be, so that'd be fine just to let it idling. If anything happens in the next sort of 10 minutes, I'll report back, but otherwise I'm just going to let it warm up now. So it's been about 10 minutes or so now. Good news, there are no water No drips, no oil marks on the floor. Coolant's up to temperature. Got our little RS monitor there, look, and it's and obviously on the dash as well, look. Coolant's up to temp, so that is good. Thermostat should have opened. Coolant level is just a bit high. I might put a little bit too much in, but I'm sure there's some pockets of air in there somewhere that will go. But no, we're looking good. And you heard I gave it a little rev there, but I'm hesitant to really just turn it off. So now that's actually sounding perfect. I have just spoken to Ricky over the weekend actually, and I mentioned about whether it has a remap on it, and I said I did the SVM, and he said that the SVM won't tell you if it's been remapped or not, and it's actually quite hard, pretty much impossible to tell by looking at software whether the car's got a remap, because apparently the software that I don't know, I don't 100% know how it works, but an SVM won't show it. Apparently the flash data can be manipulated, it can be reset, so that's not going to tell me anything either. The software version doesn't mean anything either. The only real way to tell if this has been mapped is by logging boost figures. So if it's requesting more boost than a stock car or stock ECU should, then that's really the way that you'll know it's been remapped. So annoyingly, I don't really want to drive this anything over idle really, because obviously it's lifted ahead, and that must be down to it must be remapped. I mean, I can't see it being lifting ahead on a stock map, so we need to go and get it flashed to a stock map, but obviously we'll do that once it's all running up to temperature, all good, and driving about poodling. But yeah, I just thought I'd let you know that I still don't know if it's actually got a remap or not. Chances are it probably has. So I'm going to now move on to the tyres. I did ask the garage down the road how much they want to charge me just to swap 4 tyres onto the Vossens. They wanted 100 quid, which I thought was a bit too much. I can't really justify spending £100 on something that I can actually do myself. I just hate doing tyres. So I'm not going to pay it, I'm going to do it myself. Luckily I've got these quite a thick rim on here, so I shouldn't hopefully curb anything or ruin it. So I'm going to do that now. Oh, I cannot believe how heavy these wheels are. So these can be quite difficult to do. Really big wheel, really small side wheel, 22-inch rims, and I really didn't want to damage the rim, but luckily 2 tyres, all fitted, all good. Now, annoyingly, I can only fit 2 wheels at the minute, and that is because there's TPMS sensors built into the rims of the RS7, and they are made of alloy, heavily corroded, and I cannot remove them. And luckily, I've got 2 TPMS sensors in my toolbox, which I've fitted to 2 of the Vossen rims I'm going to fit on the front, but annoyingly, I've had to order another 2, which means for now, I can't fit the rear Vossen alloys. And then I could concentrate on getting the rest of the lock carrier bolted up properly, along with the headlights and the shrouds that go around the bottom of the bumper, and also the aircon pipes too. So I've just been doing all the bolts up, putting all the air ducts in and stuff like that. We're all good. Headlights are all in position. There's just 2 wires that I just cannot find a home for, and I've spent genuinely nearly 40 minutes trying to work out where they go. And it's these 2, one on each end there. I've been like, it clips into this. I was like, it's got to go around here. It's been ages looking on the inside of the bumper to see if I can see anywhere. And then you've got the one on this side as well. I know where that one goes. That goes, I found the position for it here on the bumper, but it's just those other 2. And I was like, well, I've got the crash bar pad there. That's fine. That's just going to sit in front of the crash bar. And I just couldn't work out where they go. And then I suddenly realised. Got me bloody tube, haven't I, that runs inside the crash bar. And that is where they plug. So at least I've sorted that. So I'm going to clip that on now. Last 2 plugs on, then it's front bumper on. Look at this absolute beautiful carbon intake. I'm just going to quickly fit it, and I'm going to show you the results, because it looks incredible. I think both of these are the same. And there we have it, nearly complete Eventuri intake. Ooh, no we're not. We don't need to be towed around here. Are we going in? In that. There we go, beautiful. Look how good full carbon Eventuri intake looks. It looks epic. Now annoyingly, I've still got this split on the engine cover here, and it's a really flimsy, cheap bit of plastic, really thin, just goes around the heat shield in the middle here. There's only one on eBay for 50 quid, and it's pretty much just as broken as this one. Otherwise, there's one you can get from Audi, brand new, for £420, which I thought was very cheap. Can't see where the money's going, to be honest, but there we go. Probably RS tax. There is another option, and that is from Eventuri, and it is a full carbon engine cover. I'll put a picture up now if I can get one. And that's £600. So I'm like, do I spend £420 on a £5 bit of plastic, or do I spend £600 on a full carbon one to match my intake, which is going to look 10 times better and retain a lot better value as well? Let me know in the comments what you would do. But for now, guys, it is all back together, mostly, and I've got the Vossen wheels on the front. I just explained I couldn't get them on the rear, but I'm now going to start it up. I'm going to go outside and do a kind of semi-reveal. And here she is, made it out under her own steam. Now you may notice there is a few issues. Obviously the wheels we know about, but the rear suspension is jacked up as high as possible at the rear. And I have just been looking into it, and I'm pretty sure it's down to the battery. So I've read the codes, and there's just loads of energy management for various control modules, and one of those is the rear differential is in energy management mode because low battery voltage, and because of that it actually bricks the air suspension because it doesn't know what to do. So that is why the air suspension on the rear, in my opinion, is jacked up high. The front's obviously working. I can hear it making noises, but it's not doing anything. There's a whole host of other issues down to battery as well, and the battery is just absolutely knackered. So that is job one for the next video, is get the battery replaced. But how good do those wheels look, at least on the front anyway? It does look absolutely epic. Yeah, it does look good, doesn't it? Looks mean. Nice offset as well. Look really good. And obviously with our Eventuri intake at the front there as well. She is looking very mean. So guys, the objective for this video is now complete. The RS7 runs and it drove out here under its own steam. In the next video, we will be obviously getting the battery replaced, putting a stock map on it so we can drive it, MOT it. And once we've done some miles, we're gonna go for a stage 2 remap as well, which should be circa 800 horsepower, whilst also sorting out the rest of the problems with the air suspension and getting those rear wheels changed as well. So as always, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please do let me know what you thought of it in the comments. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. And don't forget, go grab your tickets on the Audi Q8. Good luck, thank you guys, and I shall see you in the next one.